Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Jeff, how the hell are you doing, man?
Boy, I'm feeling good. We got a little something different today. We're coming off of we're kind of in a lull right now. It's a little weird. We got we're in between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, and I say not a lot going on right now. That doesn't mean that there's nothing happening, but just kind of a quiet time right now in wrestling. I feel 4 weeks. It's not that quiet, but we're right in the middle of it right now. But other than that, I'm feeling good. Summer months, just enjoying myself. Like a lot of there is still a lot of wrestling happening, so that's good stuff.
You picked a very unique match for us today. First time we're covering Lucha Underground. I'm excited because I know almost nothing about this, and so I know you're gonna educate us. But tell me how you found this. How'd you find this match?
Yeah, so this one, when I was kind of going through just some, I had some downtime one weekend, and I was like, let me find some stuff we're not covering. Let me find some stuff that we need to talk about a little bit here. And you and I, we always say we cover everything around here, whether it's good, bad, whatever it might be. And I figure, even for you and me, this is some exposure to something that we didn't watch. I think my brother watched this when I was on Netflix, which we'll talk about. Lucha Underground itself and kind of when it was on and stuff like that during the match. But this is just one, when I was kind of looking through, I was like, boy, what are some high rated matches? And this was one of them. And then I was like, oh, Rey Mysterio. And then I was like, who's this Prince Puma guy? Like, and of course, so then I started going down that rabbit hole, and sure enough, it's Ricochet. And so haven't covered a Ricochet match here on the payoff. And so I figured, it's time. Let's kind of check this out. Let's see what's happening. Because, everybody loves him nowadays, whether you want him to get a push, not whatever it might be, but why not? So I figure no reason. And Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio, so how can you not love that? So yeah,
this is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this one. You did a good job. I've got high expectations for this. I hope it doesn't disappoint. I don't think it will. And I'm really excited to learn more about Lucha Underground. So I say we get right into this one, man.
Let's do it, man. Yeah.
All right, it's time for the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
So you may fact check me on this, but this is the season 2 finale of Ultima Lucha 2 Part 3, Lucha Underground. We're covering the main event of this, and we start off with a trios title match. Jack Evans, Johnny Mundo, and PJ Black versus Drago, Aerostar, and Phoenix. And the new trios champions are Drago, Aerostar, and Phoenix. Off the top of your head, so Jack Evans, we know of him. Johnny Mundo is Johnny Nitro.
Yep. John Morrison, whatever you want to call him. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Is PJ Black somebody?
I'm looking up right now. No, not that I can tell. Yeah.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought he was someone. Okay.
Justin Gabriel.
There you go. I thought he was somebody. Okay.
I knew that. Yep.
We have a no decision in El Drago Azteca Jr. versus Black Lotus. We have Matanza Cueto versus Pentagon Dark. And
which is your Pentagon's alter ego. Yep.
Okay. And still your Lucha Underground champion is Cueto retaining. We have a match between Taya and Ibelis.
Yeah.
And the winner of this match is going to be called the baddest bitch in the building.
Yes.
I like that. Ty is going to win that.
I say Taya Valkyrie, who's currently
That's
on
what I thought.
AEW and the real life wife of John Morrison. Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then our main event, Prince Puma, Rey Mysterio, and that's going to close down the show.
Yeah.
So we'll get into some of the reviews of the match and the show, but presented very episodically, taped all at once, kind of early on in streaming for this stuff. Because remember, this was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, so very interesting. So I'm excited to learn more. Anything that we need to know about in terms of why we got these two in the cliffhanger finale, if you will.
Yes, I won't get into it. I won't get into Lucha itself too much. We'll talk about it during the match since we have some time. But the biggest thing with this match is there had been a couple, like you said, it's episodic over the seasons, and so or over a season of wrestling. And so this one, with how it kind of aired, they had some tag matches. There wasn't like a lot happening. They had not had a singles match before these guys. Looking at it like this season 2, it aired, the original air date was January 27th, 2016. This match didn't take place till July 20th, 2016. So almost 6 months later, or that's when this season ran. They filmed in like a 3-month schedule, which I'll get into. But really, there was a couple tag matches, even triple threat, even bigger matches that these two guys were in. And it really kind of was like a weird last minute thrown together type match. Not a ton of build on this that I could find. I'd have to go back and watch every episode to kind of see how they got here truly. But like kind of looking online and kind of how this match came about, it was really just the name, the history, the name, Ray challenging Puma at this point. And that's, like I said, not a ton there. And so that's okay. Like we'll talk about how, like, what happened after the fact with these guys. But but for the most part, it's just, why not? Let's throw two really great wrestlers in the ring together.
Let's go, man. This is going to be fun. We've got the YouTube clip pulled up. This is part of the El Rey network. They have 232,000 subscribers. Ultima Lucha Dos Part 3, Prince Puma versus Rey Mysterio Jr. It's a 22-minute and 42-second clip. We're just going to hit play from the beginning.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I don't know what we're getting into, but I'm ready, man. Yeah.
I don't either. I mean, I know nothing. I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know what the scene is. I don't know if there's an audience. I know nothing. I'm excited for this. Let's jump right into this. It's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
There we go. Can you hear the sound?
I cannot. No. Oh, I'm muted on my end, but I can't hear it through yours. So no.
I was playing. I didn't know if you could hear it.
So
yeah, if we I'll mess with it here for a second.
Okay. Yep. And so I'll kind of talk us through here. We've got Prince Puma coming out to the ring. We're doing entrances, kind of dressed up full garb. We'll see here too.
His hero, the reason he got into
Thursday. There you go.
You heard it. Okay, good.
Yeah,
well, it works. So I'll play a little sound, and just so the folks listening know, I'd love to play the sound on every match, but Peacock blocks it. They don't want you playing the video or the sound or anything, and there may be a workaround. I haven't been able to figure it out, so because it's copyrighted material. All right, sorry to interrupt, but we have sound. And this, by the way, this outfit that Puma's wearing, really badass, man.
Yeah, so he is wearing a luchador mask. He also has like a, the Puma kind of headdress on, which is kind of cool. He's got a cape on as well, kind of tattered, but looking really good. He's kind of doing the Reach for the Sky entrance that he does nowadays too. But does, if I had not known ahead of time, like that, like this was Ricochet, like I'd be like, what's going on here? Like, because he had been wrestling for a while, but a lot of wrestlers, like kind of going back, like, and looking at who was in Lucha Underground and who wasn't, like a lot really spent a lot of time in Lucha Underground. And so, obviously Ricochet was there. Brian Cage was a big one. Jake Hager was there as well, too. You just had a lot of guys, and men and women, that were in there for a while. I remember at the end, to kind of jump ahead here a little bit, the end of Lucha Underground, there were issues with, they hadn't aired all of the episodes yet. And so there was issues with when they were airing versus when wrestlers could be let out of their contract. And so it was really weird how it all played out and stuff like that. Like, I'm looking, even the next season 3 was really bad about this. So they first taped March 19th, 2016, and then the first episode didn't air until September 7th, 2016. And so they filmed a lot, and so it went all the way through October and stuff like that. And so they're still, and this is where you start getting into the weird kind of contractual things. Like, they're still under employment of that company until the episode airs. And so a lot of weird behind the scenes stuff. So I remember at the end there, like, John Morrison and a couple others being like, we just want to leave, and they couldn't because of the behind the scenes stuff. And so really weird, but yeah, just kind of how it played out. So you got Ray in the ring, everybody cheering at this point too, looking great too, like looking just like he does, wearing the, I say, a little bit more basic gear, just kind of a black t-shirt that says Ray 619. He's got the black and white luchador mask on, and the pants just say Ray Mysterio. Kind of reaching out now here for the handshake. So
let me ask you, the back, do you like how dark it is?
That's how they I'll let you know after we watch for a little bit here, but that's obviously how they filmed it. I don't know yet.
And I get the reason for doing it. It's a small audience. We want to focus on the wrestlers. It's a different look. I get that. The only thing is, like, it feels like, from what I can see, I mean, you have fans there. It looks like they have a cool setup. I almost want them to, like, shine some light on it, unless when you put the lights on, it's like super dingy or something. But like, I don't know. I feel like I'd put some lighting on this, and I'd make it a little bit more vibrant. But anyway, just an observation. So
and to give a little background here on the temple itself, as they referred to it.
Okay.
And so how Lucha Underground came about was the owner of the Lucha Underground temple, in character, Dario Cueto, or it was. He used his money to get the temple and then stage fights, and like that's so kind of that's the vibe that they're going for here. Is like, he has this. There is some, I say, supernatural that goes on with this too. We don't talk about, like, one of the champions. There's like a token that they could win in order to, like, almost their type money in the bank, where if they win it, they can get an eventual championship. It looked like the center of the ring. There was a token that you could win to have that. And so that was what it boiled down. So you have these wrestlers. So it's supposed to be a underground promotion. And so I guess that could kind of contribute to a little bit of why it looks the way it does. That's also why they come in from the steps. A lot of flips right now. Yep. And so both guys. And so, yeah, so that's the dark kind of nature of it, of what they're going for here. These guys moving fast here. I say this is almost a typical Ricochet match, with just kind of how crazy things are going with the flips and stuff. Yep.
do you when you look at Ricochet's WWE career, do you think it's been what it should be? Do you think that he should be bigger, different? What's your feelings on Ricochet?
Yeah, I feel like he is the type of wrestler that he goes out there and he can't have a bad match. I feel like they just don't. Not that he's too good, but they just don't know how to utilize him well. I like the speed champion, doing like the speed type matches. That's definitely right up his alley. I don't know kind of how I'd almost feel like you'd have to get him in like a stable of some kind in order to really give him a push. I could see him as being a mid-tier or a mid-card champ of some kind, but just I enjoy when I see him on TV, but I don't know if they see him as a superstar. But I still think that he's, really good. He's been all over the world. It was a big deal when he did sign. I was looking, so he was an intercontinental champ. He was the United States champ. He was NXT North American. Like that, that was really it. Like he's had a few other little things, but that was kind of what it boils down to. And so, yeah, just kind of weird. So, yeah, and I feel like every time we see a clip of him, he's just doing something crazier. We've all seen the GIF and the clip of him jumping over the ropes and landing on his feet and stuff like that. Like that's, I say that like it's no big deal. Like, does the front flip or tope over the ropes. And so, and kind of doing that. And so that's always, that's just been interesting. And so, yeah, I don't know. I will say probably underutilized, but when I do see him, it's really good.
I think his style is just so hard to see him as a heel. So, yeah. Okay, so he's probably a babyface unless he changes his style, but his style's kind of the whole shtick. So it's like, okay, he's probably a babyface. I'm with you on the stable thing. I don't think he's a great promo. I respectfully don't even know if he's a good promo. Just from the limited times I've seen him talk, it's just very bland. It's very basic. There's not a lot of force in his voice. So yeah, putting him with some other folks maybe, or putting him in one of those tag teams where it's like a Big Show and Jericho type thing where there's such a contrast. So not two guys like him, but him and, a big cast type character. Okay, maybe that could be interesting. I don't know. I like him a lot. When he wrestles, I wanna watch him. Like I want to see what he does. And so I'm a big fan, but I think this is where the WWE writers, whether you like them or not, this is where they serve a purpose. And this is where they earn their money, is guys like him, where I think Ricochet, you could put him in AEW, and so what? Like there needs to be a character, there needs to be storylines, there needs to be I need to get to know this guy. Like him just being a good wrestler is not enough. And I feel like in WWE, they've presented him the way AEW presents most of its great wrestlers, which is, oh, this guy's a great wrestler, go watch him be a great wrestler. But I don't know anything about Ricochet. I think he's real life dating or married to Samantha Irvin.
Dating,
but that's dating. Okay, that's all I know. Like I don't know where he's from. I don't know why he got into. I mean, I know nothing. Now tying him with that, and this is where I find the Netflix deal to be incredibly intriguing. And it sounds like from something I've read or heard, the direction that they're going to go is, okay, how do we leverage the hundreds of millions of dollars we're spending on the WWE product? Well, let's create other content around them outside the ring. Now, whether it's in character, it's complete shoot, it's, filmed as a reality show, it's profiles. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I've always felt that they should have already done this, even if it was only on their YouTube channel, or they were producing it for free and putting it on Peacock, right? Like even if they weren't getting paid for it, I just think it makes, like, I've learned a little bit about Seth Rollins, right? But behind the scenes, right? Like, he's in Iowa, he has his wrestling school, he has his coffee shops. He's a really good dude. And and even though I don't necessarily resonate with his character or care for it, or I'm not a fan of the way he's presented, it means nothing to me. I think it's kind of goofy, but I actually do think he's a really solid dude. and I'm pulling for him for those reasons. So I think we need more of that. And I say all that to say I think Ricochet would be a really good example of someone that would benefit from who is this dude.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we're off on our timestamps. Where are you at?
909, 8 or 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or 9, 15.
You're in the 9-minute mark.
Yep.
Okay, we're way behind. Or I'm way ahead of you. So you're 9 what?
24, 25, okay. 26. Weird.
Okay. All right. Well,
things happen. That's all right.
I am now with you now.
So a lot of action though. I say a lot of flips and things like that, but that's okay. And so, but the wrestling, it does look kind of stiff. I do like the some of these camera angles on some of this stuff. I guess part of the nice thing is when it's not live, they can kind of cut to different camera angles and how they're showing it. Now there's no breaks in the match or anything like that where we're seeing like a hard black screen and then they're coming back doing something different. Like they're wrestling the full match here, but both these guys are really just kind of working too.
This is a good that kind of I don't know how to explain it, but the hovering above the ring to the side angle. And you can see the camera. It's right there. This one right here. I like that. I like that a lot. And you can do it because you're in a studio. I don't know. It may annoy people if you were there live and that thing was floating on the arena on the ring. But they may start doing some drone type stuff in WWE as well.
Yeah, they have with some of the pay-per-views and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan. And there may be like a technical production term for this. I'm a big fan of camera work and production that makes me feel like I'm there. This angle right here, they did kind of a wide shot from the corner.
I saw that. Yep.
That makes me feel like I'm there. Right. Yep. And part of my bias towards this is I did I did the Apple Vision, their VR goggles. I did the demo. And one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life was the demo of being at a international soccer match and then sitting first baseline at Fenway Park. And being able to look around and see a fully immersive environment of a live sports game, you're never going to want to go to an event ever again. I mean, think about this. WrestleMania, night one. What are you willing to pay to quote unquote sit front row with your goggles on? Would you pay $100? I mean, if it was cool as shit and it was live, I mean, there's a price you would pay, and I don't know what it is, $100 for both nights, but there is a number you would pay that even if it were free, you would consider. And I'm not saying you do it for every show, but some fans would. But if you just said, look, I'm gonna have a couple beers and I'm gonna sit front row at WrestleMania night 1 and night 2, and it's gonna cost me $100 instead of $10,000, you'd consider it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, dude, you're front row and the lights go out and Undertaker's standing behind The Rock.
Right.
You're gonna mark out.
Yeah, why? Like, and that it's funny because you ask, because that $100 was what my brain went to as well. And like, okay, like charge me instead of, and I think that's definitely something like, UFC too, like sitting where Joe Rogan sits for a UFC fight and seeing what he sees and getting that call live as he's seeing it from his eyes. Like, some of that type of stuff I think could go over well. Okay. And like maybe one of the smaller premium live events, it's $50. Or, hey, we'll give you a freebie when, it's an NXT show or something like, smaller venue type stuff. And so, I think there's just a lot of potential for different things they could do. One thing that I've talked about that New Japan does that they're doing here a little bit is they do have that camera angle that's just just pure ringside, kind of looking up at them. They're using it a lot, which I like. It's the angle where if they're lower than the wrestlers, it makes the wrestlers look kind of the New Japan does this all the time. It makes them look bigger. It makes them look superhuman. And so that's why they have that camera angle. Some of these, they're a little close on some of these camera angles. So I'm missing a little bit of the action with some of that. But overall though, like they're working a hard match, a stiff match at this point. And so, and they're still doing a lot of different lucha type stuff. And so that's really good. Oof. Yeah. But really good so far. Like, and Rey Mysterio, we haven't talked about, like, Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio. Like there's no like, oh, he doesn't look, he's not presented any differently. He doesn't look, he's not doing different stuff than we're used to seeing. Like, he's still Rey Mysterio out there. And so I'm sure part of this is he wanted to wrestle Ricochet. So I'm sure, or Prince Puma. So I'm sure that's a lot of it too. And so yeah, just good stuff. But yeah. So a little bit more history here on Lucha Underground. We'll talk about. So it was January 2014, actually. That they El Rey Network, which is the YouTube channel we're watching this on, that they would launch this weekly hour-long wrestling program that would come out later in that year, and it was affiliated. This was with Lucha Libre, AAA Worldwide. So it was the big part of this was AAA. Lucha Libre Wrestling. At first, it was called Lucha Uprising, and then eventually it was titled Lucha Underground. You had a bunch of different people, like big names. We actually saw them briefly. It was Matt Stryker and Vampiro are the announcers for this one, and so we saw that was when they cut to the commentators on this one. That was who's calling the matches on this one, and it is in front of, just like NXT. It's just in front of an audience. They filmed actually in California. And so, and kind of doing that. It actually, so after it was announced in January of 14, it premiered October 29th, 2014, just every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. I don't remember it. Eventually it ended up on Netflix, which is where I kind of, know of it being. I know that's where my brother watched it as well too. He actually had John Morrison, who is Johnny Mundo, won the main event of the pilot episode. And then talking about Prince Puma, Prince Puma actually was the first Lucha Underground champ. He won an Aztec Warfare match in early 2015. It's about halfway through the season to become their first champ. And so, and like we said, this one, it was a kind of a, it aired over different times and kind of what it was. The Ultimate Lucha Dos means the last two fight, which is how they kind of got to their, the name for this one. And so that's why you get a lot of these 2-on-2 matches. There was some other stuff happening, but like you said, the tie-in match, it just kind of happening. And so, but yeah.
Stupid question, but what was every match lucha? I mean, was every match pretty similar to this?
No. And so I know that there was some other, they had a lot of different, like they had some death matches. I know they had some other type, they had some standard wrestling on here. I know it's weird to think about, like, big giant dude like Brian Cage having a lucha match or a lucha match, but he not necessarily doing that type of stuff, but no. So there was some, I say, standard wrestling, if you will, on this.
But that's good. I mean, I just say if it was just this over and over again, but I mean, you need the men, you need the women, you need different size people, you need different stipulations, different wrestling styles. So, okay, I was just curious about that.
And I think, it does kind of harken back to a little bit of like the NXT weekly show when it was taped, and kind of, they were telling a story over the course of the seasons and whatnot. And so they were able to do that. I know that there was, I'm looking right now. And so it just kind of, yeah, geez.
I don't even attempted like a 450, missed it, but landed on his back. I don't even know how many degrees that is, but
that was crazy. Yeah. So let's see here. Well, I'll actually just do the season 1 kind of overall pilot or kind of plot. introduced viewers to Dario Cueto, the owner of the Lucha Underground Temple. Cueto uses money to influence to stage fights. During the season, he introduced the Lucha Underground Championship, won in episode 9. Later, there was a trios championship added. He began rewarding several wrestlers with an Aztec medallion, later revealing that they were all playing a part in the creation of the Gift of the Gods Championship. And so that, so it's just kind of building, different things. Let's see. Other plot lines included the mysterious supernatural Mil Muertes and his companion Katrina. Let's see. All kinds of different stuff. Season also had a side plot involving Cueto. So yeah, your figurehead was involved in some of the stories on this as well too. And so, yeah, so just kind of telling a story. I guess when you're able to kind of map it out and plot it that way, it does make it a little bit easier. But yeah, just get really interesting. And speaking of figureheads on TV, have you? I don't know if you saw recently. There was the article that Tony Khan is trying to limit his TV exposure now. Do you have thoughts on? Is that good, bad? Like, what are you thinking?
Okay, we got a winner.
Oh, we do.
We talk about the Hunan Conrano, but when the runner is done proper, it results in a pin. There is no one that does it better than Rey Mysterio, and the king is risen, and he is still the greatest luchador.
I'm at 17 minutes. Are you running at double speed or something?
I have no idea. That's a mystery that I don't know if we're going to solve.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, it's
all right.
I'll tell you, I'm looking at. It's funny you say that because I'm looking at the time, and it looks like it's going. I mean, it says normal playback speed.
Weird.
Well, maybe you're just slow.
I don't know what's going on here.
Well, there you go.
Okay, well,
we'll hold your question for next week.
That's fine. Yeah, we can do that. Yep.
But really, really good match. I before we move on, I'll just say, and I don't know if they made money on this, they lost money on it. People watched, people didn't watch. I don't know anything. I'm surprised this didn't do better. But this is coming from a guy that never watched it, right? Like I saw it on Netflix. I didn't click on it. I never watched it. But I'm like, man, this is good. It's different. Like the in-ring action's there. Like I know the episodes weren't 2 hours long with commercials. I'm just like surprised this didn't do better. And maybe you have some insight in that. So, all right, let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
All right, I liked it, and again, my thinking out loud here is, how did this not do better? How's this not still around? Maybe you can share something, but anyways, what did you think? Because I mean, I'm watching this, like Ray's on the steps, he's getting cheered. I think it looks great. I mean, I'll tell you this, and again, it depends on what setting, but I think this looks a lot better than some of these AEW crowds where the hard cam side of the arena is completely empty and they show it on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think just how we've seen some indie type shows where it's like the hard cam and that's it. They obviously put some money into this. They were investing into it. They had big names, like you bring Rey Mysterio out, like that's, there's just major name notoriety there. And so I think really good. They were doing well, and pretty much what happened was they just never got renewed for a 5th season. And so I'd have to kind of dig into a little bit more, and we've got some other Lucha Underground matches on our list here that we can eventually get into and stuff like that. But and there was some things out there of they just weren't on the right areas, like the El Rey network, like nobody's really paying for that. Like, so it's just kind of tough. Same with, all these different type, things of they kind of just got too big for the network they were on and just couldn't support that. And so unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. And so after this, Ray kind of bounced around a little bit. He spent a little bit of time in New Japan, actually, teaming up with Tanahashi and Jushin Thunder Liger. He actually it was a match. It was Rey Mysterio, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tanahashi taking on the Bullet Club at the time, who that would have been Cody, Marty Scurll, and Adam Page. And so that would have been 2018 dealing with that. He ended up back in AAA Worldwide for a little bit as well, too. Actually, this is when and this is when you start going down this rabbit hole and you're like, wait a minute, Jeff Jarrett was in AAA wrestling. And so there was a three-way match between Ray Wagner and Jeff Jarrett. And so I kind of want to dig into why was Jeff Jarrett in AAA wrestling, this Lucha promotion. And so, and then we all know eventually. And so this match, like we said, it aired July 20th, 2016. But then, of course, the major pop, as we all know, him making the Royal Rumble's appearance in 2018 is what most of us, remember nowadays. But he was still very busy in that downtime. I didn't realize just how much he was doing. And so,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And so on the flip side, Ricochet staying involved with the promotion. It was the end of the third season. Actually, he challenged Johnny Mundo for the Lucha Underground Championship match, where he put his career on the line. Puma won the match, but then he was immediately after, like I said, there was that Gift of the Gods champion. And so he was able to challenge Puma at that point. And so, it's just a lot of different stuff here. And that was actually, he won the Johnny Mundo match, lost the Pentagon Dark match, who is the Gift of the Gods champion. And so he actually, his Lucha Underground career, he was done. But, the reality just didn't, contract expired on this one. But like I said, it gets a little hairy here because even though he didn't resign and couldn't resign anywhere because of this weird contractual until the full season aired on TV, so he was really close to a year from when he filmed to when it actually aired. It wasn't able to do a whole lot. And I had forgotten before he kind of made the jump. And he said, comment on his status, an underground fighting company is holding me back, was the reason he had not yet been signed with a quote major promotion. The final episode of the third season aired on October 18, 2016, 16 months after being taped. And so he was kind of locked into not being able to go anywhere. But then eventually January 16th, 2018 is when WWE finally announced that they had signed Ricochet to NXT. And we all know that's, where he was and kind of, thrived there. So this really interesting. I think that there's still, I kind of want to go back and start watching some of these. I don't know if they're on Netflix still or not anymore. Like I said, I have a couple other matches for Lucha Underground that I think would be interesting. I think, what do I got here? I've got there was an intergender street fight, actually, Brian Cage and Taya, which looks interesting. I see Ray Phoenix, which we all know that was a big one. That was actually the Gift of the Gods cash in, and so they did that. There was a steel cage match, Brian Cage versus Johnny Mundo, and so there's a lot out there. I've got a women's match, and so I think there's still a lot. Johnny Mundo and Prince Puma had a match. It was actually a 40-minute Iron Man match, and so, like, to your question about what were they doing? They were doing a lot of different stuff. And so I think that there's a lot out there that you and I could, kind of find this. And if we have any Lucha Underground fans out there, I would say definitely dig into this. I think we started at the end of the season, but, kind of go back and kind of watch and check it out. So PWI, though, for this year, this would have been, like I said, 2016 when we're getting into this one. Ricochet Puma was 15. Rey Mysterio was 76. Let's see here. The torch on this one. This felt main event worthy for Ultimate Lucha, but I can't help but think how it would have felt if they had been building to this all season, even though the two often shared the same side of the ring in trios matches. And so, like I said, there was just not they weren't, not telling a huge story when this one. Observer newsletter on this one. The final episode of the season was the third Ultima Lucha Dos, a 2-hour special. This was a unique show in the sense it had something for everyone. Not all of it was great, but the Puma Mysterio match was the best match. Was Rey Mysterio's best match in more than a decade.
Wow.
Pinned it, yeah, and so Mysterio then left the ring and let Puma have the stage. I'd go 4.5. Puma was no greater than Ricochet has been in a lot of great matches, which is pretty damn great. But where did this Mysterio come from? He had the athleticism of the 1995 Mysterio with the psychology of the 2007 Mysterio in one package and came across as pretty close to the best worker in the business in this match. And so, interesting take. And so, Meltzer gave this one 4.5 stars. It's crazy. I think there's just this 4.5 Lucha Underground match that's sitting out there that not everybody even knows about. And so, I guess what are your thoughts though?
I exceeded expectations. I mean, look, I knew the match would be good, right? They're not going to put on a bad match. I was more focused on the presentation. I liked the camera work. I liked the setting. I might have lightened it up a little bit because I think it looked cool. I think you could have not made it dark in the back. I'd like to see a version where it was completely lit up, like, WWE style.
Yep.
And maybe that wouldn't be better, but I think it could have been, because I actually think the background looked really cool. Anyways, I like the setting. The match was really good. Like to me, this was like a really good 7.5. I didn't think the match was anything. It's tough with these lucha matches because they're all really good, right?
Yeah.
But like, how do you differentiate yourself, right? Are you supposed to jump higher? Are you supposed to flip more? So but a really, really solid 7.5. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. If I first thought was like a 7.5, and I'm going to stick with a 7 because I do wonder if we had seen it seems like from my reading of it, like there wasn't a ton of build to it. And so maybe, there was a lot of room for improvement on that, but I do wonder if we had seen some of their other matches together, some of this trio type stuff, if maybe we would think a little bit more. I think it's an interesting take there. So like I said, when this match taking place, I'd like to go back a few years and find some Rey Mysterio matches in 2010, 11, 12, because if they're saying this was his best match in 10 years, like what was he doing between 2006 and 2016? And so I think kind of seeing that, and maybe that would show that hey, once he was in that setting, he really excelled. And so I don't know. I think that I feel like we're leaving with some questions, but they're good ones in regards to I think that there's some more out here that we could definitely explore and kind of check out. So, but overall, really, I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we kind of checked it out and kind of saw what was happening. And so, yeah.
Very good to cover. Very good to cover.
Got it. Good.
I enjoyed it. It was good. What do we got next week?
Yeah, what do we have next week? So we're going back to the WWE next week. We actually got Monday Night Raw. We got a triple threat here. We got Edge versus John Cena versus RVD.
Is this the one where we had to take the title off of RVD because he got busted smoking pot?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's what we're going with on this one. So yeah, should be it definitely be an interesting one. But yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But spoiler, there you go. So of course, too, don't forget our show sponsor. We love them, you love them, manscaped.com. Using a promo code PAYOFF, it's getting you 20% off, free shipping, everything in the store. Like we always said, we have lived by these products. We have died by these products. We are big fans of them. I actually did go back, Tom. It's been about almost 3 years since we've been with Manscaped. And so they've been with us. We've been with them. Yeah, I was kind of curious. And so I scrolled way down the Instagram feed to see where our first kind of advertising post about them was. It's been interesting to see the evolution. We were with them at the Lawnmower 3.0. Now we're at the Lawnmower 5.0 Pro. And so We've seen it over the years evolve into, just from going from the ball trimmer to all kinds of other products. And so we encourage everybody, use our promo code at manscaped.com, payoff. It's getting you 20% off, free shipping, everything in the store. Make sure that you're checking it out. So with that, let's send them home.
All right. Well, this was fun, and looking forward to next week's episode because there's a lot of drama behind it that we're going to discuss. So appreciate you listening. We'll see you next week on an all-new episode of The Payoff.